Hello and welcome. I hope you're doing alright. It's 1st of December. It's a bit cold, but it's not raining, which is what we like. So yeah, just a quick sort of catch up. I've not been doing a lot really. I've been a bit busy in work. This is my busy season, but I've done a few things, so we'll sort of just go through them and where I'm going with them and other stuff that's been decided as a quick little whip round just to keep it ticking over. So the main thing that I've done, or the two main things I've done, is this fence post. Yeah, you can see in the centre I popped in there. That's nice, that is, because that just gives me something like visual to help visualise it all. So in the end, what effectively is going to happen, the top of this fence post on the left with the vertical garden on it, there's going to be a beam going across to the top of that one, and then from there it will then go back diagonally back to that one with the lantern on it at the back there, and that will actually, if we get there, marry up with the sort of edging of this big octagon playground area. So that's quite nice. If you were interested in the edging I've used, it's quite nice stuff. I'll get some for you. So it's made from recycled car tyres. It's got a bit of flex to it, as you can see, and it's it was relatively expensive, but it's pretty good. It looks like it's going to be durable, unlike a lot of the stuff that you can get just around their cheap plastic bits, and if they get kicked then they end up smashing and cracking and all that. But that's quite durable. I got that all the way around. It was quite expensive. I think it was almost a tenner a length, or a tenner a metre, so yeah. Less said about that the better. But yeah, now that one's in there, what I need to do with this bit down here is just decide on the height of the trellis I'm going to have, and then what I'm decided I'm going to do is strap a bit of wood to the front of the fence posts all the way down to extend it up, and then have the clip the trellis into that. And I think for the trellis, instead of just going 30 above, I'm going to get something like maybe a 90 and have 60 centimetres below the fence line and then 30 above, or something like that. And then what that means is that I can have two wires low down on the fence to help the climbers get up, and then they can start tangling in and out the trellis above that. But that's just something I can work on with. I've still got logistical nightmares with this roof here, because this roof here for this little area needs to be high there and lean back into the house, but then for the pergola that's going here, it needs to be high on the house and come down low to the outside. And then that's not too bad, but there's obviously this part here where the two are going to meet, so it's how I'm going to tidy it up with this fence post here. So yeah, you can probably see I've been mocking up the spacings for the fence posts here with those little things of thermalite. And what it is mainly it's just when one comes out of the doors, I want the sort of if I had two fence posts perfectly, like those two thermalite blocks, it sort of throws you out and into the centre of the back octagon, like for the eye as you walk out. Now the trouble is, I don't really want to put a fence post there because it sort of encroaches a little bit too much. So yeah, it's just things to ponder. The same with this. If we had two fence posts, one would be there, one would be where that one is, or thereabouts, and you can see that's a little bit too far off of that. So I'm going to do a little bit of a trick of the eye on it. Luckily on this side I don't need to worry, because no one's going to walk out of this wall and look at it that way, if you see what I mean. So getting rid of that one I'm not too worried about. I think what I'll end up doing is screwing a higher fence post to this one, this side of it, and then if I get a bigger ticky head and just move that across, that'll pretty much, his chin will line up with where that fence post is or thereabouts. So that's good from that point of view. When it comes to this, what I've sort of, you might not see, or you might have, but I've doubled the width of these coping stones that I just found in the garden when I moved here across. But really I want this little jut out to be like one extra bit on each side, if you see what I mean. So sort of one stone on each level. I haven't got any more stones, which got me to thinking that this rank of two coping stones going all the way through, if I just get however many it is, 14 more of these square blocks and just lay them where it is, then that will give me a lot more to play with, because it needs to come out that far anyway. So I think that's what I'm going to do. That will free up a load of coping stones, and what I can do with these coping stones then is this sort of area with this flower beds I've been building. I can actually use them as what they're meant for, to go on top of the wall, and I think that'll look quite nice. We'll see. So over here I've done a tiny bit of winterizing, just because as always I come up with all these plans, didn't bother going to get anything, and then it suddenly got cold and I was like, sugar, I better go and like at least sort something out for these cyathias and a couple of the others. So you can see this big cyathia, he looks still alive. All I've done at the moment is just dump as much straw as I could fit around him there. Same with this little cyathia here, but they're still growing. You can see he's still firing out a crosier there in the centre. But what my actual, because next week it's due to get even colder, so what I'm going to do with this one is I've got some sort of, it's almost like corrugated paper bag type material, and I'm going to wrap it around the pot and put something underneath it so that it's not sat on the cold ground. That will hopefully insulate the pot side of it, and then if I then did the same again, a level up, it means I can probably then fill that sort of upside down cone, if you like, that's going to be made out of the insulation with the hay, or the straw as it were, and that should cover up most of it. So unless we get anything that's majorly crazy, you know, like -5 for a week, in which case I'll drag them inside, these two. But otherwise, yeah, we'll see if we can get away with that. Next year they'll be in the ground, and going on from that, what I'm probably going to do is, this is Camellia Corner at the moment, you can see there's a couple in there. I'm thinking of turning it into Cyathea Corner and putting this one in where those two camellias are. And also you can see I've got this other fence post in here permanently. Last time it was just a floating one. Ignore the trellis for now, I've just popped that in there about with that 30 centimetres above the fence post, but it's not at its final height yet. But what I thought is that if I'm going to have a little bench in here where the insetti and the thing is, you know, i.e. if I build one, or if I put that bench in there, which conveniently enough it does actually fit really well, if you're sat on the left side, or as we're looking at it, or the right side, you've got that stone wall to put like your drinks on and stuff, but on this side there isn't anything. So I'm going to build it out a block's worth out like I have done there, and then hopefully put some coping on, some of this copings on top of it when I free them up, and that will give that a little you know, place to put their drinks there. So for this just particular bit here, what I want to do, like I said at the beginning, is I want to keep that as it is, because that frames it as it's nice, but I don't want to put a whole fence post above that right side thermalite. So what I'm going to do is, you can probably imagine with the fact that this place is filled with octagons, is that I'm going to have a little octagon jut out. So from that sort of concrete block, it will come out 45 degrees to where this one's mocking up the fence post, and then come straight across to roughly where the pig is, and then jut back into where the cyathea is, and then where the cyathea is will just carry on straight across to that one. So as you come in front of the cyathea, that's straight, little jut out in front of where that little statue head is, and then jut back in, and then back into that. What that does is it gives me a bit of room. I want to get that head in there somewhere. So what I'm probably going to do is, if you imagine that flower bed that the bamboo's in at the back, I'll keep that block between the bamboo and it in there, but I'll effectively carry that across, so at that height there'll be a little flower bed at the back that will have this smaller camellia in, because it's growing a bit straighter up, so that would be quite nice growing straight up there, and we'll see how we can do with that without it bushing out. Then I'll have a little stand for the middle third with this statue head on it. Roughly the back of it's going to be roughly where that block is there, and then that means this whole front bit can be a nice big flower bed. So I'll probably put that big camellia in front of the fence post, because it's got bent and bushy, so I can hopefully manipulate that so it looks quite nice. And then that cyathea next year I'll actually put in where he is, but it'll be a flower bed, and that works quite well. And then this big cyathea I'll chuck in there. That puts the two Cyathea couperii together, which is quite nice. You know, we like to pair things up. These two ferns either side of it, we'll get to that when we come to it. But yeah, so that's sort of my next thing to do, is to build up this whole flower bed type flower bed and statue and all that, and just get that done. I also, what I've noticed, you've probably seen it, there's a big crack in my thing. I think that's where I forgot to put any drainage holes in it, and the soil's so wet. So luckily this thermalite's really easy to drill through. So what I'll do, I say luckily, I did actually plan it so that if I needed to put drainage in, I could do quite easily. So I'll drill 2 holes down in the bottom corner of that sort of one that's jutting out, chuck in a couple of bits of pipe that size that you can see in the centre there, 22mm condense or overflow pipe, which will overflow into this bed, and then at this end of the bed is all on the ground, so hopefully if it comes through there it will drain out. And I'll do the same with the bamboo as well, the bamboo bed, just to put a couple of holes in it, just, you know, like a retaining wall sort of thing. So yeah, it's all go down this corner, but it's coming along nicely, seeing as I'm not spending that much money on it. Just take a little walk around. So in here I've made a bit of a decision as well. I mean, that what I'm probably going to do here, because I've got that giant honeysuckle which is currently in the house on full lockdown, trying to get it going. It's not dead, but it's not doing anything, so I'm wondering if it's, you know, the light levels have signalled to it to sort of shut down for winter, and it's just sort of up there, you know, just plodding its way through. But what I was thinking of, because I saw a few honeysuckles the other day, just normal ones, and when they're older you get a massive load of almost 2 or 3 foot's worth of wood, and then it starts going into the sort of leaves and all that. So I think, and I was thinking as well, like I said the last previous times, that if I could get some nice bushy evergreen ferns in there, that would just keep the worst of the sort of frost and cold off them. So I think in this sort of section here where we've got the little blechnum there, in the bottom left, the eucomis, obviously that will come out, and the honeysuckle, if I put a Lophosauria and the honeysuckle in there, and then that blechnum I'll move between the atrata and the canna, which I need to chop down now, and then hopefully that'll work and look very nice, because the Lophosauria will obviously creep right out in the end. So yeah, I think that could look quite nice. And then the honeysuckle would be wood pretty much, you know, worst case as far as the bamboo's going up, the honeysuckle should cover it, the Lophosauria should cover it probably 80 centimeters to a meter up, and then this banana will hopefully cover over it, or that pup there or something like that. But yes, yeah, so that's a plan that I'm going to stick to on that bit. Over here, not too much going on. I can't do the waterfall now. I'm going to wait until the spring till I do the waterfall. I'll just do it all at once, because I'm just not going to have the money to get it all in one go. The only thing I might do here is the wood that I've put behind that top flower bed doesn't line up with the wood of the fence there, you can just see, because they're different sizes. So next time I buy some of that wood for the fencing, I'll sort all that out, and that should mean where I've got those bits of wood there, I can actually get some of those coping stones that are down on the patio and put them around there, and that ties in nicely down there. And then obviously the last thing I'll do is render the actual thing or whatever I'm going to do with it. So yeah, over here we're covered. Now over here Lophosauria is still going quite well. You see it's throwing out new fronds. I've just chucked a little bit of straw in there just to help keep it. The T-Rex has completely stopped growing now. So yeah, that's kind of as it's going to be, I guess. So I've just, again, I'll probably get some more leaves, some bigger leaves, and chuck it all over it, and just try and keep that a bit warm down there. Otherwise it's all pretty much as you were. This frond, do you remember well, you probably don't, but in the last one, this Woodwardia, I did say something was having a go at the crozier as it was unfurling, and it's all gone discoloured and things like that. So yeah, I guess we'll just treat that as a one-off, hopefully. But yeah, other than that, the hydrangeas are doing quite well. They sort of seem like they're doing something now. They've been in a couple of months, and it looks like they're actually starting to sort of sprout new little growths. Scheffler, again, one of the ones I've just tidied up. What I'll do before the next big cold bit next week is probably take all of that out, this straw, and then just replace it with some dry stuff, because it's wet. The Herrenhausen is doing quite well. You can see it's quite vigorous there, as is the Polyblepharum, so that's going well. This fig tree, I think I might take it out. I was always a little bit worried about the roots taking over, and it's deciduous, and I did see a video, I forgot who it was, but they were on about a tree. I think it was a loquat tree or something like that, and it's quite jungly, evergreen, etc, etc. So I think that might be better to put in there, and I can just get a small one. So next year what I'll do over here is I'll get a couple more Cyathias, probably the Australis ones, because I think they're a little bit hardier. I'll probably put one in between the Atrata and that Herrenhausen. I'll put that right in that gap, and then I'll put one where that Royal Fern is, between the Herrenhausen and the Scheffler over there. So I think they'll look pretty good. Over here, Dixonia just chucked some hay. I keep calling it hay. Just chuck some straw in it just for now. I will probably do something a bit more with that, just because two reasons. It's quite a small one, it's only a foot high, that one, and also it's its first year in, so I might just go a bit OTT with that one this year, but I'll wait until it gets down to proper cold before I do anything else. So yeah, other than that, it's just kind of plodding along really. So yeah, I'm going to build up all that flower bed where that statue is, get all of that in there. That then almost finishes that. Get these blocks, these 14 pavers, lay them in there. That will then give me a lot of room to mess around with. These fence posts will probably go here, so I might get them in as well if I get the chance. And then start getting some wood up to get the trellis in the back, and then suddenly I can start, you know, a couple of sort of trips with wood, you know, of different sorts, and suddenly a lot of it can almost be done, if you like. So yeah, I'm on the hunt out for another tiki head. I haven't been able to find one exactly like that, but I've found some of the same make, i.e. the same style, so I'll probably just get a bigger one of them for where he is and move that one across to the right where that other Jurassic Gold is there on the right. Yeah, so that's about it really. That's all I've been doing. Not sure when the next one will come out, because I'm absolutely mental at work and I need to obviously do stuff to actually be able to do anything. So yeah, we'll get there. But you can see the leaves, trees dropped most of its leaves now, so I'll gather them, all them up. I was going to make a leaf mould, but I think what I'm going to do this year, like around that Dixonia, I was half thinking about just piling up loads of leaves all around it, and all like just everywhere, just chucking like as many leaves as I can get in anywhere. Yeah, we shall see. But anyway, hope you're having a good one and keeping relatively warm. See you next time. Bye.